Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on Winsight Live. Before I kick it over to Phil, Sprouts Farmers Markets reported its third quarter results late yesterday. An interesting situation for them. Their comps were up by 4.2%, which in coronavirus terms is not very good for a food retailer. On the other hand, their gross profit margins are exploding at 37.1% of sales. That's up 400 basis points from the last time they did this. And it kind of points to the odd kind of goings on at Sprouts, where they're trying to recast themselves as a retailer that's going to be known for an appeal to discerning produce shoppers and natural food people and foodies and those kinds of people, and less to those people who came and shopped at Sprouts because they had the lowest prices on produce. And there's a little bit of a mixed reaction to that. Some analysts are saying that this is a slippery slope, and when they start lapping next year's results, things are going to get kind of ugly for them. On the other hand, there's a lot of kind of support for the strategy as a whole, which in Sprouts' defense is only beginning. And we'll see, as time goes on, how this all works out. But really kind of interesting results from Sprouts, which, kind of mirrors what we're hearing about Trader Joe's and some of these other, specialty retailers that might not be, benefiting from the toilet paper and the one-stop shopping trends that are lifting the rest of the food retail world, Phil.
So, John, when I hear you talk about that, what comes to mind is this is a perfect target for Neil Stern with his new position of, taking over other retailers. Maybe Sprouts is going to be one of those retailers. So my concern is that from a CPG standpoint, what we have is a lot of CPG companies cutting out SKUs for efficiency. Retailers are cutting out products. So what's the response of a CPG company? So Stouffer's, the frozen food company, starting November 17th, is going to sell sweatshirts, T-shirts, and a fanny pack that will talk about love for frozen lasagna or macaroni and cheese. So the T-shirt says, "Mac and cheese is self-care." The T-shirt for lasagna is "Live, Laugh, Love Lasagna." And this is in addition to McDonald's, who has offered new pajamas. Chipotle added chips and guac sandals. And Franzia, the box wine company, has launched an online shop with swimsuits, necklaces, and backpacks. So maybe what these food companies should do is worry about their food. That's what we want from Stouffer's. I don't want a macaroni and cheese T-shirt from them. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me that they're not focusing on food. And yes, I know it's really clever marketing and PR and branding and stuff like that, but maybe if they made a better macaroni and cheese, their sales would go up. Before I kick it to Jen with a Walmart story, I have a Walmart story too, and maybe I've been living under a rock for the past 3 years. I didn't realize that Kentucky Fried Chicken sells fried chicken scented fire logs at Walmart for the holidays. A fire log costs $15.88. Any of you guys ever buy those? See them? Smell them?
Heard of them. Haven't encountered them in the wild.
Not the kind of thing I want to put on my fire, but
seriously, who wants your fireplace to smell like fried chicken? I don't like the smell of Kentucky Fried Chicken by itself, permeating throughout my whole house. So Jen, there's been a lot of talk in the news about what's going to happen this Thanksgiving, and you wrote about Walmart taking a lead on it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of grocers, but obviously, Walmart is so huge, and the holiday business that they do every year is so huge. And this year, as we all know, it's going to be a holiday season like no other. And starting with Thanksgiving, where, retailers are already like Walmart talking about, they've got ahead of this curve and they're ordering smaller birds and boneless breast and bone-in breast turkey. And then Walmart says it learned a lot from Easter, where it kind of got slammed with traffic. So they've extended the window of holiday shopping and bumped it up to like November 2nd. And then they're also going to be what they also learned from Easter is that people are going to be wanting to eat hams as well. So it's like a ham, small bird Thanksgiving. The fresh market is also on top of this. They've surveyed their shoppers, and all of them indicate that, smaller holiday gatherings, the number of people gathering with extended family and friends is down. So they're offering a whole range of, they always do a lot with prepared foods and kind of bundled meal deals. They're offering meals that feed, anything from just 3 people to 10. And then fresh direct too. They're working with suppliers to really dial in this kind of, smaller gathering Thanksgiving with having toms, the male turkeys, harvested earlier so that they're smaller, focusing on hens. And also focusing on whole chickens. So, maybe there'll be a lot of families out there just forgetting about the turkey and ham altogether and cooking up roasting a small chicken, not frying it on a fireplace log, but.
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, I mean, I think that this holiday season, we're going to see a lot more prepared foods. And also keep in mind that a lot of the frozen turkeys that we're going to see, it takes 5 to 6 months for turkey to grow to, 20, 22 pounds. So, forget the fresh turkey market, but a lot of the frozen turkeys that are out there are already, in freezers because, nobody predicted that this would go on so long. So I would also say that probably after Thanksgiving, we're going to see a lot of sales on big 20, 22 pound turkeys. What people are going to do with them, who knows? But Brett, you've got some breaking news that QuikTrip is expanding in a different kind of way.
Yeah, Phil. So our colleague Greg Lindenberg covered this for CSP today. This is really interesting. When I saw this, I really wanted to talk about it in here. So for a while, convenience store gas station operators have talked about wanting to, sway a different direction than a typical gas station. So as I always talk about premium food service on here, a lot of operators are trying to become a food destination and try to exist without the pump. So this is completely different and in a completely different way. So QuikTrip, they're one of the 12 largest convenience store chains in the country. They're based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They are expanding an urgent care medical clinic network in various areas, and it's called MedWise. So in September, they opened their first one in Coweta, Oklahoma, and now they are breaking ground at the end of this month, I believe today, the 4th of 15 planned urgent care centers in the Tulsa, Oklahoma metropolitan area. So this is really fascinating. I mean, they're good sized facilities, about 4,000 square feet. This one specifically is expected to open in February of next year. Each one is going to have about 10 to 15 people working there, and they aim to treat, just like a typical urgent care center, kind of more life-threatening injuries and illnesses. But very, very interesting to see a convenience store retailer go this route.
It is. A lot of traditional grocers are putting their toe in the water, like H-E-B and Kroger Health and so on. But nobody's moving as quickly as you're describing. It will be really interesting to see. And also, keep in mind from a profitability standpoint, these health centers can be very, very profitable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So John, you're reporting on Amazon having a new app.
They have a new app. It's called the Amazon Shopping Panel, which is or Shopper Panel, which is for invited shoppers to come, and they will incentivize them. They'll pay them $10 a month to upload 10 receipts of purchases they make that aren't in Amazon. It is a really fascinating and clever idea for them to kind of, give them this opportunity to kind of use competitor receipts against them, essentially, and build up the information. Amazon says that this is going to help things like its advertising, but and everything from like Prime Video offerings as well. But is also going to inform product development and probably pricing and negotiations with suppliers and everything else. So I talked to a couple of people in the industry, who were quite impressed. James McCann, the former Old USA CEO, thought it was a pretty significant move from Amazon, or at least potentially. And that's something that, although, traditional supermarket retailers might have the same ability to sort of launch a tech like this, they probably couldn't keep up with the discounts, at $10 a month. This is store credit that they give to the shopper for uploading these things. There's also additional rewards that the shoppers can add, 25 cents a minute, I think, for responding to surveys about the product. So, this is another way for Amazon. Amazon's built its business on like its awesome consumer data, and now it's going to further build its business on data that's not necessarily theirs, at least not to begin with, until these people start sending in their receipts.
Interesting. And Jackson, you're our tech guy. You know a lot about data. You've just posted a story about data. What do you think first about this Amazon app as it relates to data? And then tell us about, what people should be doing to protect privacy from data.
So I certainly agree that this new app from Amazon could be a game changer for them, depending on the data they get. Because, obviously they have access to all sorts of consumer data from their own website and their own stores. But, it seems to me that this is a signal that they've, mined that about as much as they can. And now they're looking to expand that, data lake, as people are calling it today, to gobble up, data from other retailers. I mean, it's smart, it's a little predatory, and I think it's definitely up Amazon's alley. And data, I think right now is especially important and especially in danger. I think that the number of natural disasters that we've had this year would be getting a lot more coverage if it weren't for the pandemic and the fact that this is an election year. But I mean, hurricanes data just made landfall. Large swaths of California and now Colorado are on fire because of Zeta in Louisiana. There's been an ice storm in Oklahoma that has knocked out power to about 300,000 people, and that means businesses too. And with all these natural disasters, you have to keep in mind that if you have company data, if you have, if you rely on a connection to the internet, those things are in danger depending on where they're located. Even if you have data stored in the cloud, that is inside a physical server, and that is located in a physical place. Do you know where that server is? Do you know if it's safe? Because especially now when we have all these really important, curbside pickup capabilities and other things that keep us socially distanced, it's important that we have those digital tools and that we can keep them safe despite these disasters.
You bring up a really good point that I had not connected the dots on before, but with all these disasters, with where these servers are, and how would somebody even know, for your business, where these servers are located?
Well, companies, they may have inside their corporate headquarters, and that's the easiest scenario to keep track of. Others, they may have a web service that they use, such as Amazon Web Services. You should be asking your provider where these servers are located. Find out what steps they're taking to protect your data. These are questions that operators, convenience stores and grocery stores should be asking their providers.
Absolutely. So Jen, tell us how HEB is growing.
So they just opened a new 122,000 square foot store in Lubbock, Texas. It's their first store in Lubbock. And just looking at the photos, they always do a great job of taking, photos of their new stores. And it's just, it's almost like, I was thinking it's hard for me to get my head around, because I live in the city. What does 122,000 square foot supermarket look like? I mean, we have Costco and,
in Lubbock, Texas.
And I mean, they've got, just every department is wow. And they've got this whole like Texas Tech, like sporting goods area that looks like a boutique that would be on a college campus or something. A huge wine and beer department, huge organic produce section, beautiful seafood department, bakery. It's just, it's just a wow store. And that true Texas barbecue, there's an outpost in the store there as well. And it's just, in these times, it's like that almost sounds like worth getting on a plane or driving there. Just, it's like going to Disney World or something.
Wow.
Jen, I'm going to add here, Phil, and it's interesting. This is HEB's first store in that Lubbock market where they haven't had any stores yet, and HEB's track record is where they operate stores, they tend to dominate the market shares of 35, 40, 50% in some Texas places. So this will be a real challenge for the existing guys there. Walmart Supercenters, where one of the leaders, and Albertsons United Supermarkets chain as well. So that's going to be a nice new little battleground, I think, we're going to see in the next years to come.
Sure. And I'm just wondering, when you build a store today that's 122,000 square foot and you can only allow 30% or 40%, occupancy of it, how do you make money on a store like that? But, it's Texas. Maybe they don't have the social distancing requirements that the rest of us have. John, talk a little bit about Kroger. You follow Kroger very carefully,
right.
And it sounds like, there's some changes taking place there.
It's ongoing. I didn't want to be too alarming about it, but these things come out. So as you know, Kroger is in the middle of or nearing the end of a 3-year program to reimagine its business. A program is called Restock Kroger. And, a central tenet of that is cutting $1 billion out of its operating costs to invest in the things that they're going to do, they're going to need. So digital capabilities and all that stuff. And part of that is changes in sort of how they work and efficiency and administrative stuff. So around this time last year, we reported that there was kind of a fairly large restructuring of the store manager roles in the stores at the division level. So a lot of kind of a reduction in the number of managers. This year, looks like there's going to be reductions at the corporate office, which Kroger acknowledged but did not specify in terms of number of positions. It's interesting too as well that they are changing some roles in their tech department as well. And so their take on it is some people will end up getting salary increases, and we're going to be adding more positions to tech as a result of changing roles. Again, the details on that aren't necessarily out there. What I will say is, this comes up when you publish something that we did earlier this week when we were talking about their restock update strategy, and sure, you post it on Twitter and you get a message. Well, of course they're doing well. They're cutting all these jobs, And so, look, that's a thing that these guys have to deal with, because every company in our industry is cutting jobs. Cutting jobs, cutting costs is what they're doing, and finding new ways to work. Walmart's done it. Kroger's been doing it. Hy-Vee, Albertsons, everybody is trying to find a way to be more efficient, because they need that money that they were putting somewhere else to go into digital and next generation capabilities.
So Jen, why don't you wrap us up with some good news?
So, we've talked so much about salaries of grocery workers and the warehouse employees. And, for a while that was on this upward trajectory of, pay raises. And and that now it's kind of down to a trickle, but it seems like maybe with the holidays coming and, there's a pressure to hire more people, that I hope that we continue to see that again. Redner's Markets just announced that, and they're attributing it to their growth related to COVID. They just announced that they're boosting the minimum wage at, in all their warehouses to $15 an hour. Plus they're offering new employees as of early November, a $500 signing bonus. And they said they'll adjust the salaries of existing workers. And they're also hiring across, they've got like 44 stores in Eastern Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. And I think like 21 quick stops. Brett probably knows those, the convenience stores. And they're hiring across all of that, everything from cashiers to, stockers, clerks. So, be interesting to see kind of after we get through the holidays, what happens with, these salary pay raises and staffing up. Will that continue?
Yeah, because I'm reading a lot in the news that if in fact there is not another stimulus check that comes out before the holidays, that people are going to be spending a lot less. So this is great news, and we just wish that more retailers would follow suit and everybody wins. So thanks for joining us today on Winsight Live. And again, you can always see our previous editions on Winsight Grocery Business, on CSP, on Restaurant Business, and on supermarketguru.com, all of our Facebook pages, all of our websites. And we will see you next Tuesday at 9:30, Thursday. Next Thursday, we're taking off for Election Day, as I hope you are, as I hope everybody goes out to vote. So we're going to skip Tuesday. We'll come back Thursday, hopefully with some great election updates to share with you. And in the meantime, visit us on all of our websites, and don't forget to always send us messages on Facebook, and we will get back to you. So have a great weekend. Wear a mask and make sure you vote.